Hey everybody, Zon gets 134 here.
Average Joe Squad here.
And the contender 1994 here.
And welcome to another episode of Remember the Hyphen, the show where we look at comic books, movies, and everything in between. And if you saw our preview video, we just got out of Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back.
Let me tell you something. It sucks! Alright? I know you guys thought I liked it, but I'm going to tell you this. People want to see that instead of Barton Fink. They want to see that instead of, it can't happen here. They want to see this instead of Andy Warhol film eating a burger for 10 hours. No, that's what's wrong with this country. And I hate it, stinks, and I don't like it. I'm done. Screw this review.
You promised me you gave him his tranquilizers.
Guy with 8 hands. Sounds hot.
I'm sorry, I had to do that. I wanted it all day.
Yeah, so we went and saw Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. And before anybody asks, the one they were showing was the special edition. I know how to tell which one's which because I actually own the originals on DVD. I got the 2004 re-release of them all, so I know how to spot them.
Yeah.
5 isn't nearly as bad as some of the otother special editions.
It wasn't that bad, yeah.
Honestly, 5 is actually one of the ones where I think it was okay for them to add stuff in. Because Episode 5 is probably the closest to Lucas's vision of the entire 6 movies he made of these. So most of the additions were honestly minor, basically enhancing what was already there, or stuff that they wanted to do but couldn't, but made sense.
Yeah.
The biggest one being they actually could show the snow beast like eating and like actually show its arm getting cut off.
Yeah, the Wampa, because they actually did try to get that working at the time. It's just the practical effects back then hadn't caught up, and they couldn't get it to do it.
Which I don't understand why they couldn't have just done a suit. Especially because if you use camera tricks, it could have looked bigger than Luke without much effort.
Yeah, but I don't know. I read a book back in college called the Making of Empire Strikes Back, and that was, I think, the reason they cited it, along with a lot of other stuff.
I mean,
it was a good book. It's expensive as fuck to get it now because it's long out of print. It's like a little like Del Rey paperback book.
Yeah.
I actually didn't even buy it. I ordered it through interlibrary loan in college, and I was amazed the library sent it to me because it was fragile as hell.
Yeah.
Like I read the thing, but I was very careful with it. But there's another making of book out now, and it's a totally different thing. It's like a picture book.
For me, this was really the best. Like, if you saw our Batman and our Superman films, both of us were really happy to see those on the big screen. And honestly, this here also applies.
Oh, same, because I actually was one of the people that saw Star Wars Episode 1 in 3D when they were going to re-release, because the original plan for that was we're going to re-release all 6 movies. It was only 6 then. This was pre-buyout by Disney, where they were just going to re-release all 6 films in 3D. And Episode 1 was the first one. I went and saw Episode 1 because I was planning on going and seeing them all. Yeah. My original plan was I was going to go see them all, and I was going to keep my ticket stubs, and I was going to get them framed. But they only ever did Episode 1. Which it's like, I was even prepared to sit through Episode 2, and I hate fucking Episode 2.
In my opinion, was probably a mistake.
They should have just done the original 3.
Yeah, especially because I think they actually re-released the original trilogy when the first in celebration of the first.
They did. They re-released the special editions in theaters.
Yeah, of Phantom Menace getting made.
Which, again, I would have gone to see those.
Like,
I love the original 3 movies.
Because in my opinion, they should have done the original trilogy first, then the prequels if they were going to re-release them. I know that what they were trying to do is they were trying to go in the chronological order of the story, but.
And I mean, they actually were redoing the CGI for it, because when I saw Episode 1, the pod racing stuff looked a lot better than it normally looks.
I heard that's like the best part of Episode 1. Like,
no. Whoever told you that the pod racing's the best part?
Somebody lied.
No, because
it drags. The best part of Episode 1 is the mall fight.
Wait, can I just get a disclaimer here right now? So first off, just a quick note. I actually.
He had never sat through an entire Star Wars.
No. As a kid, I watched the prequels, like 1, 2. That's all I watched. And, of course, I haven't watched those in years, so I'm not the biggest Star Wars guy, so I don't know all about it. And I just heard that from like one of my radio
Well, no,
shows. So I that's not my opinion. I just heard about
Well,
it.
no, we know that, Doug.
Yeah,
We know
and
that.
you-
That's
and
why I was like,
you've also
whoever told
heard-
you was fucking wrong.
Yeah, and it's like you've also heard me and Adam, because me and Adam, we
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but I love the original trilogy.
Oh, I absolutely love the original trilogy. Like, I grew up with the original trilogy. I actually,
the original trilogy to me is Star Wars. That's
Yeah.
what Star Wars is.
one of my uncles actually had, well, they had the VHS re-releases of the films, which
I
I
have
think,
those.
aren't altered. I don't think.
No, I have those.
Yeah.
That was
Because I've actually that was my way of saying
probably the original black box.
Yeah.
which I had.
Yeah, those are it.
I've owned 2 copies of it. I think I still have one. I've owned because I've owned copies of those. Those were because when those came out, that was like own it for the last time. Where's the last time we're ever gonna re-release it? It's gonna be on
Yeah.
these sets. So I had those for a long time.
Released for the last time, like any of the movies in the Disney Vault.
Yeah. Well, and I also had, because like when I was in high school and middle school, I collected a lot of Star Wars shit, and I had a lot of those tapes.
I remember you loved Star Wars. Like, I remember you and I forget like
Me and Adam.
No, no,
not you, Adam. Different.
Oh.
Adam.
no who was the it starts with a his last name was I forget, but he was
Josh?
married. Not Josh. Was it Josh? I think it was Josh. Yeah. You guys, I think we're having a debate about like the extended universe. I remember that in middle school. So
Yeah, that was probably Josh.
yeah.
But like I had that box set. I had the original VHS releases. I still have those because I kept those. I don't.
Yeah.
They're a little moldy, but I'm like, those are worth money.
Oh, no,
That's how I
that-
do
oh,
it.
yeah.
And if anything, they're worth for sentimental. But and I had that. I had the gold special edition
Yeah.
VHS set, which I still have. That's the special editions. I think I have the silver one. The only difference is the gold's full screen, silver is widescreen.
But just for reference, talk about the pod racing. Like, for me, like, not only is it long, 'cause it's like 9 minutes.
It's just.
But like, it's literally the same shot. It is literally right to left. You barely get any different shots in it. So not only is it super long,
But it's monotonous.
it's monotonous and repetitive.
I'm a NASCAR guy, and it's boring as fuck. There you
Oh,
go.
Jesus.
That's all you need to
But
know.
yeah, like
it's boring as fuck, and I'm a NASCAR
the best
guy.
part of those movies is anytime Maul's on screen and
Yeah.
anytime they actually get to show-
Qui-Gon.
yeah, Qui-Gon. Well, to an extent, I kind of consider Qui-Gon to be the worst Jedi ever.
Yeah, that's what I said. I heard that's what someone said. I haven't seen these movies in years.
Well, and to be fair,
Welcome to the Star Wars fandom, where we debate everything.
Well, to be fair, Phantom Menace is actually is very prevalent of a. And to be fair, this wasn't something I invented. Chris Stuckman coined the phrase "Phantom Menacing,"
Right.
where, okay,
When it came out, everybody was like, "No, you can't criticize it. It's great."
well,
It's
not only that,
dogma."
but it's also like, say there's an amazing movie franchise that came out a long time ago, and it's beloved by people.
Alien.
It's a cultural base.
Alien and Alien 3. There you go. That's how it works.
But like, and then a new movie in that franchise comes along.
Mm-hmm.
It is so ingrained in pop culture. Like, when you go and see it, you literally don't you don't see any flaws. You think it's amazingly well done.
I went and saw Last Jedi 3 times in the theater.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's not a good movie.
but and it's not anyone's fault.
Well,
it's just
it's not a good Star Wars movie. In my
and it's
opinion. Upon rewatching
It's just
it,
a cultural.
it's literally just, you have put so much importance onto this film that your brain literally shuts off the ability for you to see what is wrong with the film, because you need it to be that good.
You don't like the film. You like the idea of the film.
But then you don't watch it for a long time.
I actually think.
And then you
I hate to keep interrupting.
No,
I
it's
actually
okay.
take it back. Last Jedi is not nearly as bad as compared to Rise of Skywalker.
No,
Rise of
no,
Skywalker
no,
is fucking terrible. I paid money for that movie.
but you watch it again years later, and suddenly you're like, oh my god, this movie's horrible. Like, you literally, because like you're finally able to sit down and see it again, you suddenly are seeing all the basically
Thomas and the Magic Railroad.
yeah, like you see the paper getting ripped off the wall, and you're suddenly like, you see every single problem with it.
you turn the curtains away from the wizard.
Yeah.
And you see the real
it's
wizard.
the
boss.
exact opposite me and Adam have had, or at least I have had with movies like the Raimi trilogy or
I actually
any
argue
of the
yeah.
Batman animated movies.
Yeah,
It's
no,
the exact opposite, where I've actually argued they've gotten better with age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, and not only that, but like, like, and that's you get what I mean. Like, literally, because those movies are tied into something that is a cultural cornerstone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people believe, well, it's just as good as those. But they're not.
It's not the thing itself. It's membership.
Yeah, I actually argue if the prequels were not connected to the original trilogy, they might not be. I don't think they'd be great, but you would probably be able to forgive them a lot more, and you might have also been able to see the flaws with them at first, and they might not have been as good. But
I mean, like, I don't proclaim myself to be a Star Wars expert. I mean, I think, I don't know. Out of the three of us,
you're probably the expert of the three of us.
I'll be honest. To me,
I mean, because you've been to my house.
Yeah.
You've seen all the Star Wars books I have.
Yeah.
And you have extensive knowledge. Like, you can tell me a lot about the AU or the.
I have all the
EU.
guidebooks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were watching Empire, any questions he had, I was like, I can answer them for you.
I mean, I could answer a few of them, but
So
I don't know as much
I
as you.
personally think you are an expert, but I guess I don't know about the other fans.
There are people that know way more than me, but
Right.
Hey, Doug, you want
like
No, I'm good.
the way I view it is,
Full of popcorn.
I've seen all of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the Ewok movies included. I've seen the cartoons.
The
I've seen the holiday special twice, all the way through twice. The way I have always tried, and Adam can attest for this, with every movie we've ever gone and seen, I always try to pull something positive away from it.
Yeah.
With the prequels, there's a good bit of things I like with them.
I can agree.
With the sequel trilogy, not to the same extent, but there are some stuff in it I like. However, what you're saying is, like, with the cornerstone, I think in recent years that's opened up a lot of things where people. Because here's the thing, everybody now likes to defend the prequel movies.
Yeah.
That is the thing I've noticed, and I know this is with friends of mine, who will remain unnamed, but I've noticed this. When those movies came out, episodes 2 and 1 were the worst fucking movies ever made for any Star Wars thing.
Yeah, there was.
Now that the sequel movies are out, suddenly we're all defending the prequels, and I'm like, I watched the pendulum shift back.
It's like with Batman and Robin after Batman v Superman came out. In fact, I actually argued that actually happened.
In retrospect,
that happened with Return of the Jedi, because I remember people used to there was a time where people used to think Return of the Jedi wasn't as good.
Which I've never gone, because I've always loved Return of the Jedi. But that's just me.
Well, it used to be the weakest of the three.
Well,
I don't think it was
still
hated.
Is. Don't get me wrong. It still is.
But there are people who were like, no, Return of the Jedi is so great and great. Which I like Return of the Jedi.
There's only one return, and it's not of the king, it's of the Jedi. Get it right.
There's only one trilogy. It's Star Wars.
You're damn right. I'm not a Lord of the Rings guy.
But, like,
I never have been.
But because I think that was because part of the problem was with the dawn of YouTube. Because in my opinion, that's one of the other problems with the prequels is with the dawn of YouTube and say Mr. Plinkett's reviews and other
the rise of fan edits.
It became much more popular to real. It was one of the reasons, in my opinion, that made those movies even hated, because that was a big thing for YouTube from 2008 to 2015, probably even longer. But until we got the Disney movies, those were that was the thing everyone just gravitated to. And in my opinion, that's actually why I think the pendulum swung back. It got to the point where people were like, oh, come on, stop being so mean.
Oversaturated?
Yeah, oversaturated. And stop being so mean. Poor Lucas had to give up the rights to Disney and make millions and millions of dollars. Leave Lucas alone!
Yeah,
It's a very weird thing with comparisons.
Everybody is let Lucas do this. I'm like, he gave it up. He doesn't want to. And he wouldn't have given them up.
Yeah.
Nobody put a gun to his head and said, sign it over. A lot of people, and again, this is more in retrospect, we're trying to defend it. I'm like, when that buyout happened, there was nothing going on with that. They had canceled the TV show, the live action one. 1313, it got canceled.
Oh, that was such a
KOTOR
shame.
3 had gotten canceled years before, and it finally surfaced, and everybody got pissed.
Oh.
Battlefront 3 had been fucking delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed for fucking years upon years. the Clone Wars, the new Clone Wars series was going on, but it's like there was nothing going on with it. It was essentially I don't want to say it was a dead franchise,
but it was just coasting on
stagnant.
it was just coasting on
the
what
only
it
thing
had.
going on was you had comics going on and you had the EU.
Yeah.
And the EU was still going pretty strong at that point. I mean, say what you will about the EU. I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, the EU's terrible.
Yeah.
The EU's good. The EU, like, I love the EU. I don't really care. I'll defend most of the EU.
Yeah.
I'll even defend the Yuzon Vong.
I think people just get, because like the EU does some things that it pisses people off, like Chewie's death and it.
Yeah, but
Anakin.
to kind of tie it all back to what I was getting at is that in retrospect, we're defending a lot of stuff anymore, and it's like I said, I like things about all 9 movies.
Yeah.
Some more than others. I'm looking at you, episodes 8 and
Yeah.
episode 9,
Oh yeah.
and episode 2, because episode 2, otherwise known as the movie I put on when I want to go to bed.
Episode 2 is
So fucking slow.
We're getting way off
We're getting way off
track.
track.
But I kind of just wanted
we kind of give the background of Star Wars
But,
at this point, and what we know.
to give you an idea what 1313 was. 1313 was this game that I think was kind of supposed to be like almost like a detectives game.
think like a GTA style.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
kind of gonna,
yeah.
but it had like this kind of noir feel to it.
It was gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it was gonna be-
Long story short, got canceled.
Yeah, it looked like from what I saw of like
EA canceled that shit.
Oh, because EA.
Because EA
Get
has
the
the
game.
EA has the exclusive Star Wars license.
Really?
Yeah, EA's a piece of shit.
Dang. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how long though, because they keep fucking shit up with the rights to Star Wars. I don't know how much longer they will get to
I
keep
think
it.
Disney's finally just gonna have enough.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
getting back to episode
the
5.
actual-
But
yeah.
like at least thank you for letting me explain my
No, it makes sense.
theory about Phantom Menace.
Thanks for letting me
And also-
vent about what I know.
we can't really say that doing any Star Wars thing, we have to involve the history of Star Wars. Like it's not just
such a cultural icon.
Exactly, and there's so much, as you said, like shifts in how people
Yeah.
see it and how it's affected us, and and also as you said, like you retrospectively looking back, you find different things you didn't see before, so
Yeah.
you just can't ignore that.
Well, then, like, it'd be like if we did a Star Trek thing. You can't just not like. 'Cause
Yeah.
that, I actually argue Star Trek is even bigger than Star Wars in certain aspects. But,
To kind of get back to Empire, I figure we could just kind of go around and say what our feelings on the movie was
Yeah.
before we get into what we kind of
Yeah.
felt like watching it. So
because much like with our other two movie reviews of Batman '89 and Superman, we're not going to tell you the plot because you've seen Empire.
That's like everybody knows.
Even if you haven't seen Empire,
Watch
you've
it.
seen Empire.
You know the ending. Everybody knows the ending. There's no spoilers with it.
even though there's that Mandela effect with the line. But anyway, Empire Strikes Back has always been one of those movies that I don't know. That's a movie that ever since I got into Star Wars, because I got into Star Wars pretty late in the game. I got into Star Wars probably around like 2003, 2004, right around the time KOTOR. Yeah, right around the time KOTOR came out. Because KOTOR really got me heavy into Star Wars, but I always liked the original. I mean, because as you can attest, I love vintage stuff. I love nostalgic stuff. I mean, shit, you see, I have an 8-track player, for God's sakes.
You bought a VH.
I bought a VCR today to
VCR.
fucking watch VCRs. But anyway,
Yeah.
fucking, so when I started getting into Star Wars, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch all these, you know? So I was like, I'm going to go in order of how they were released.
Yeah.
So I rented, from Hollywood Video, no less.
Yeah.
Rented episode 4, watched the whole thing, loved it. Watched episode 5, loved it. Watched episode 6, fucking loved it.
Well, speaking of videotapes, watch our rental store memories video. Like, comment, subscribe.
But yeah. So, but fun fact is that episode 5 was actually the first Star Wars movie I ever owned because I bought it on a VHS tape at a secondhand store for $0.25,
No.
and it was an original episode 5 tape.
Okay.
Original.
Nice.
So this is where I got into, like, I had seen the originals. I had not seen the special editions until later, and that's why I got so used to the originals.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is how the movie's supposed to be. Then I watched the special editions, and I'm like, I don't really like these.
Yeah. No. That's
This is
fair.
great, but I like this.
Yeah.
But
I think
anyway,
that's most people's feelings on the
yeah.
special editions.
Well, anyway, episode 5 was that was probably for about a year and a half. That was probably the Star Wars movie I watched the most. Like, I used to just put that on in the background and have that going. And like I said, I love it. I mean, I argue that while it's not my favorite is still episode 4
I think I would agree with you on that.
But I love Empire. I argue they're on the same plateau.
Yeah, that's probably my assessment of feelings on it.
And I mean, like when I got really back into Star Wars, I mean, I watched the shit out of this movie. And when I going on with what we've been doing with our specials, because of our local theater, I think you and I hadn't found anything that like the last week and a half that had been playing that we really wanted to see.
Yeah.
And then I was like scrolling one day and I was like, seen it, not really. And I got to the bottom and I'm like, I remember because you turned around instantly. You were at the sink and I was like, yo, they got Empire Strikes Back?
Because like this is one of those movies you had like I wanted to know what it was like to be in there when that film was on. And granted, we don't see it with an audience because we do this after work.
And by the time we go, it's like having a private showing.
But like
it's like Mr. Science Theater.
It was still great seeing it on a big screen like it's supposed to be seen.
Seen the title crawl.
Yeah,
the title crawl.
That's what I said to you guys when I first saw it.
Just hearing that note, that like that. Oh, credit to John Williams. You magnificent bastard.
Oh yeah.
You're
John Williams and the London Symphony Orchestra, everybody.
Your scores. I know, like everybody gives him, iconic. But like I know everyone gives him praise but like
he's earned it.
Like
he's really like the kind of like the Beethoven of pop culture. Like I mean,
I actually would argue that actually.
Yeah.
I would defend it because like I actually argue that any musical score guy that
John Williams.
Well, not only that, they probably try to be like him. Danny Elfman, Mario and Enricone.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Just like any like major songwriter, like they like even like Disney takes cues from him.
I'll be honest. I mean, other maybe Danny Elfman. I think John Williams is the most like. If anybody asks like, hey, who's name one film composer or score composer?
Well, just you name a movie, he's done it.
Yeah.
Jaws, Indy, Star Wars,
Mostly
Superman.
Spielberg and Lucas. He did some others, but like mostly Spielberg and Lucas.
Wait, did he do Howard the Duck?
I actually think he did.
Actually.
I might look that up. I actually think he did. But to wrap up my thoughts real quick.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. Just to kind of give it like a little couple of final thoughts. Like I said, I love this movie to death. As someone who's a very diehard like Han and Leia shipper, I fucking love this movie.
Oh, Leia.
I love the way Carrie and Harrison play through everything, and because I said I was gonna say it when we got out of the theater. By God, Carrie Fisher is fucking beautiful in this movie.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, God, every time she's on screen, man, she is beautiful.
There's a reason she's a lot of young men's first love. Mine was Kimberly from Power Rangers, but I can see why for a lot of young men, Princess Leia was their first love.
And technically, I mean, mine was Kirsten Dunst's Mary Jane, but
oh yeah, fair. But I mean,
yeah. But that's kind of my final thoughts. So
right.
I guess I'll go next. For me, since I'm the oldest of the group, I was actually alive back when the original trilogy was getting back into popularity. Because after Return of the Jedi, I'd say probably from about 84 to 94, Star Wars was kind of dead. Again.
Don't forget the Yonk, so.
But with the advent of Episode 1, and just, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that, like, the generation that grew up on Star Wars was having kids now, and they were showing their kids Star Wars, and
it's John Barry.
Oh, never mind.
And it shot. Oh, it was John Barry who did Howard?
John Barry's Howard.
Yeah, probably John Williams was like,
Fuck
you want me to do a movie about a talking fucking duck? Wait, Luke, George,
I've done a lot of weird shit.
George, in your script, duck tits?
No,
Duck tits?
I'm out.
Ducks don't have tits, George.
I'm out.
That's a big
Ducks don't have tits.
That's a mammalian feature.
Sorry to interrupt. I had to answer that question. But please continue.
But because I don't know if you two because when I was growing up, well, yeah, I knew of Star Wars. There was a time where like you could be a little kid and not really know / be into Star Wars.
Me.
Okay, fair.
Me up to 2003.
See,
but like
I'll tell my story later.
But like before, like when we got closer to Phantom, like Star Wars popularity skyrocketed. So like
blue.
Yeah, like, you know, they re-released the original trilogy. They like there was merchandise out the ass again, like it was back when the original trilogy was new. Like it was kind of like the resurgence period, basically. Like, you know, like growing up in the Disney Renaissance, like, which again, like I did. So like, I remember there was a time where like I knew of Star Wars, and then there was the time where I knew Star Wars, and for me, this one and the like he said, Episode 4 were always the ones that I just remember the most. Like I said, my uncle had these on VHS, and I watched them, and I was very intrigued by them. I loved the lightsabers. I loved seeing all the tech and the aliens, and it was really something that just was great for me. And while I admit, like, stuff like Power Rangers and anime and other cartoons held my interest a little bit more, there was an appreciation for Star Wars for me, and I loved getting books about like the world and
the essential guides.
The essential guides, and
I have a couple of those still.
I also had some like picture books that kind of like talked about like stuff about like the different worlds and like the Empire. So like, I love Star Wars. I probably not as much as you. No offense.
No, not
but like
you like it more than me at least.
Well, I still love the series, but a lot of the recent decisions with stuff have kind of just
because like
I recognize canon has reached a decision, but given it's stupid, I fucking ignore it.
But like, because like for me, like the most important thing is the original trilogy. Like I like, because I always feel bad because like I like hearing about the expanded universe, but at the same time I'm like, if you couldn't really tell this in the movies, is it really that important? And it makes me feel like an asshole when I say that, but like
no. It's why every time I talk about the EU to you, I always try to give you the best parts because
that's fair.
There's a lot of duds. I'm not gonna lie to you.
And like to be fair, I like a lot of times
ask me sometime about the Crystal Star.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's as bad as it's.
Unless it's about something from Super Mario Brothers, I don't care.
Crystal
Star. Ask me about the Crystal Star sometime. It's considered one of the worst Star Wars books ever made.
But like I have some attachment to Star Wars. Like I said, I grew up. I was like 8 when the Phantom Menace came out, so I was one of those people that was Phantom Menace because like the hype. Because you have to remember when those movies were coming out, this was like the first time in like a decade, like actually more than a decade that there was.
People thought there wasn't going to be any more.
Yeah, people thought there wasn't going to be any more, and then all of a sudden there's more. It's like Zoidberg with the anchovies in Futurama. More.
Which I actually like.
Like it's because it's funny to me because like when I was growing up there was only the original trilogy and the expanded universe stuff
and the Ewoks cartoon.
We don't talk about that.
Hey, I like the Ewoks cartoon. Watch your tongue.
I know, but I don't want to talk about it.
I could have been an Ewok, man. I could have been a companion.
We're gonna have to explain at the end of the video.
I could have been a yub yub.
Instead of just being a stormtrooper.
But yeah, like so for me, like Empire and A New Hope especially are really great, and like trust me, like he said, him and I could probably do the entirety of Episode 4. Better bring Luke in for the harvest. But yeah, like so getting to see Empire was a treat in my opinion. That's pretty much it was a treat, and I loved seeing just all the things you don't normally see when you see it on a little TV, you know.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like the credit scroll, is that what you call it?
Yeah,
the title crawl.
The title crawl.
The title crawl. It was so smooth. Like when you see it on TV or YouTube clips, it's kind of like it's just not as smooth on the film. Like there's something. Yeah, there is something about.
You're looking at it as 60 frames per second.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, your thoughts, Doug?
Okay, so it's weird because in a way I feel like I'm the least attached to Star Wars compared to you guys, but in a way I'm also very attached historically. So here's the you said something about like you and also you, Colin. You guys remember a time where you knew about Star Wars but you didn't care about it. I remember at a really young age, because what year did Phantom Menace come out?
98.
1999, actually.
Oh, 99.
Okay, that makes sense. Because when I was like 4, 5,
I guess I was 9
6,
when it came out.
Yeah, I must have been like I would have been like 4, 5, 6 around that range. You know, I remember being. I loved Star Wars because I had toy. What?
I was 4 when that happened.
Yeah, so I must have been 5 then. Yeah, or 6 maybe next year. But
We'll do the math later.
yeah, the point is, I loved it. Like I had toys.
At least that's easier for you two.
I actually remember like I had this like remember that giant fish that eats the what they're chasing
There's always a bag of fish.
what's the fish that chases that giant fish that chases
I can't
the
remember
pod?
what it's called.
Yeah,
It's just a fish.
Well,
The
I
big
had-
fuck you fish is what we're gonna call it.
Yeah, because I had toys of that, and we had a pool, and I was playing with it. I had like I was really into like I thought Darth Maul was awesome. I loved the fights, and that's why I remember that one. But yet the other ones I may have watched, but that's the thing. Okay, so I may have watched one completely. I'll admit that as like a little kid.
Episode 2 is really forgettable, Doug.
It is.
I'm gonna be
Yeah,
fair.
it
I
is.
remember as a
It
kid.
really is.
I remember like the final fight on the in the Coliseum. Like that was
That's the best part of the
It
whole
was the
movie.
best part of the whole movie.
right. I did try seeing 3 and was like 12, 13. Like it was like a year or two after it came out. I just didn't care for it. But I did love growing up. You remember this? I imagine you also too as well, Colin. The Gendy animated.
Tartakovsky Clone Wars.
Oh, the
short.
2D one.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, dude,
Oh,
I
I
love
love
those.
those.
Fantastic.
On Toonami.
Like that actually made General Grievous cool.
I loved Grievous as a kid. I did
And then episode 3 comes along and he's
That's why-
lame.
Oh, yeah. I was like, no, he was a badass. So that's a weird thing. As a kid, I loved it, but then afterwards, I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I just never had a strong
Sometimes
feeling.
that happens with stuff.
Yeah.
It is true, yeah.
Like I love Ninja Turtles, but like I'm not like James Rolfe or Doug Walker where it
was the defining part
yeah,
of
like
your
for me
life.
that was Power Rangers, but like I still adore the Turtles. Like
Yeah.
I like the original cartoon. But like I could take or leave Turtles when they do stupid shit. It's not like Power Rangers where I'm like, "No, don't do that."
Right. So that's the weird thing is that the prequels were more like the defining things for me in Star Wars, and maybe other like
Well,
the
that-
Battlefront 2 and
That's
the
what
Lego
was
games.
coming out when we were growing up, like, and
Yeah.
again, I, for one, looking back, I was always like a weird kid, like I always loved older stuff, like I loved older music and I loved
Yeah.
older movies, and I always liked older stuff, and so I almost wonder if that was partially what drew me towards the original trilogy, because the new ones were coming out, and I was like, yeah, but I want to watch these. I'm like, it's got Harrison Ford in it,
Yeah.
and like, it's like I watched him, and like, I loved it. I fell in love with them,
Yeah.
And it's something I still love to this day. If Adam were to come over to my house and say, let's watch a Star Wars movie, I'm like, which one you want to watch? You want to watch 4, 5, 6? Like, what are we gonna watch?
What about
Well, obviously
one?
if we're watching
We're not
Star
gonna
Wars,
watch the fucking holiday special.
well, obviously,
Get
if
the
we're
fuck
watching
outta here.
Star Wars, we're watching the original trilogy back to back.
Wait, you just
No.
mentioned,
A man after my own heart.
you just
like-
mentioned. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
You just mentioned the special. That was, I guess, the only other time I got interested in Star Wars, because of course, growing up, I watched like Nostalgia Critic and James Rolfe and stuff, and I remember watching the reviews of the holiday special. Oh my!
Well, if
God.
you do look here, yep, my ears are bleeding.
Well, and the holiday special was always something I read about, but in the early days of YouTube, it wasn't up on YouTube.
Right.
There was no way to watch it,
Yeah, unless you could find a bootleg.
which
Didn't
is
George-
referenced in the Weird Al music video for White and Nerdy. He buys a bootleg copy of it.
Yeah,
Nice.
because Lucas is personally ashamed
He wanted this for
of the
every
holiday
had-
special.
If I had the time and I had a hammer, I'd
Yeah,
track
that's
down
it.
and personally smash every copy of it.
And again,
Now with the internet, that is never gonna happen.
this is the man who thought duck tits were okay.
Let's do
This is the man who thought Jar Jar
Yeah.
was okay.
Oh god.
Jar Jar is the key to all of this.
You fuck off.
So
I might have miscalculated.
Anyone who believes that in the comments, don't bother. I don't want to hear the fucking explanation of why Jar Jar is great. All right.
Because he was going to be the Sith Lord of the whole thing.
Yeah, because the racist caricature of black people was such a great thing, or the Trade Federation leaders who are also blatantly Chinese racist caricatures.
Yeah. We're not here to talk about the prequels.
but
Are you an angel?
Let's steer back.
But no,
Let's
that's,
steer back.
that's what I'm trying to do. So now back to tonight. So you guys actually offered me like later after lunch for me to come over.
Because me and Adam have been planning this for like a week, and then it finally just got later tonight, and I was like, Doug, why don't you come watch a movie with us tonight?
Yeah, and of course I've been wanting to both hang out, watch movies, and do this podcast too. But also, I feel like as you said, it's a cultural icon. Like it is one of those things where like you should try, not should, but it is something like
You should see it at least once.
or something that is like you understand more about the culture if you watch it. It's such a thing of pop culture where it permeates through everything else. And also another thing, it is a great film by itself. It has a great story structure, characterization, and of course the special effects and the series.
The atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere.
That's the thing for 80s. Maybe a couple things but for the most part, the special effects are so great. Like the scenes in the background where it's obvious. Well, it's to us we know it's a painting, but it's still so good you don't think it's a painting.
But to be fair, I have nothing against matte paintings because they always look really good when they do them.
Yeah.
Unless you have no budget, a matte painting doesn't really look that bad.
Well, and to kind of go with what you were saying, like, you understand the culture and stuff. I mean, this man sat through me and Adam word for word doing the I am your father scene.
Yeah.
Every inch of dialogue was being said perfectly in sync.
You screamed as well.
Yeah, we even did the no part.
By the way, Mark Hamill has big buck teeth.
Jesus Christ, man, leave Hamill alone.
Oh, I'm sorry, he was a car.
You want to fuck with the Joker?
Yeah, I was supposed to say Doug.
He's the fucking Joker.
Do you want to end up like Bonk in Return of the Joker? Because that's how you end up like Bonk from Return of the Joker.
He's also the guy in Wing Commander.
He's just also the guy in Wing Commander, and he's great in it.
That's the other hope. The Joker's the other hope.
Because he knows the Guyver, Doug. He was in Guyver.
What's the other animated role he's in?
Oh, okay.
The what?
Hamill. What's the other animated role he's in?
Well,
The one we talked about. We talked about it recently.
I know Skip's from
he's
regular show.
the Hobgoblin and Spider-Man.
Yeah, the Hobgoblin. He's also the Hobgoblin.
But no, actually, the
I was gonna say, what's the other animated role Hamill was in? I'm like, you're gonna have to be a little bit more specific.
And can I just say, we gotta talk about this guy, We gotta talk about Mr. Smooth himself.
Oh, Mr. Lando Calrissian.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to Lando. There's gonna be some Lando love going on here.
So my final thoughts is, I'm glad I watched this. Of course, I'll be honest, it wasn't the usual cinematic experience because we did a lot of like discussions. It was kind of like once again a riff track.
Yeah.
But even so, I still appreciated a lot.
Only we could film in there.
Yeah, if only.
I think that it's still a great film in its own right. Even like if I didn't watch 4 or 6, like by itself, you can get all the information. You get like a lot of the the drama. The plot is well structured. Like like I was just saying, like there are elements like the training scene. It's not a montage. It's not tedious or too short. It was spliced. It was balanced with the other plot, the B plot. So it's a great film. It's a great influence our both our childhoods and our current pop culture, and I'm definitely fortunate to see it, especially with you guys. So I'm really appreciative.
We were glad to have you, Doug.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And also,
it was a lot of fun.
I gotta be a star. I gotta get my voice out there.
You could have been a contender.
Oh god. So that's my thoughts.
It was either this or he was gonna start talking about.
He's gonna start killing again.
I'm not the Zodiac. I don't know why this is.
Well, I wasn't gonna go there.
We've referenced it on the show before.
I know we.
Of course you have.
Well, no, not like when you're not on it, Doug. We probably was referenced in the Addams Family review.
Because I mentioned like amazing
no, it was
risque jokes.
It was mentioned one other time, and I even mentioned that Doug was gonna hear it.
Oh, you mean the top?
No, not the Lost episode. The other one.
No, not the Lost episode. The top 10 video games we did.
No, there was another one.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I guess we can talk about just the best parts. I guess the best bits.
Honestly, all the space battles are really solid in this.
Hoth, anything involving Hoth.
Yeah, the Hoth honestly,
it's just iconic.
Yeah, like because you've got the Tauntauns, the way the base is literally like carved out of a mountain.
Well, I'm living in Pennsylvania. I mean, you're seeing it. It's like winter in Pennsylvania. I see.
Never say in January.
Yeah,
why do we always joke about it at work when I got to go in the freezer? I'll have to go out on Tauntaun, Adam.
You'll never make it back. Your Tauntaun will die before you reach the first marker.
I'll see you in hell.
And we gotta close the door before the beeping comes on.
Come out. You all right? I thought the freezer smelled bad. On the outside.
Like the especially the big battle with the AT-ATs or is it at? Because
it's either or. I've always said AT-ATs.
Because I know people who are like, no, it's pronounced at.
I always say AT-ATs. You can say it either way. It's an abbreviation.
It's literally all-terrain attack.
All-terrain armor transport.
Yeah, armor transport.
It's a fucking abbreviation. You can say it
It's
either
like
way.
ASAP or ASAP.
Yeah. Like the fight with the AT-ATs and the snow speeders.
The training with Yoda.
The training with Yoda.
Yeah.
Like Frank Oz is, in my opinion, one of the best puppeteers ever, aside from like Henson himself. Because for reference, Yoda's actually voiced by the same voice actor as Fozzie from the Muppets.
I never put that together.
But like from like just the puppet work to the way he makes Yoda talk and just carry himself, you really believe Yoda's there. He's not just a puppet. But the thing, and that's true of a lot of the puppet work in the droid work in Star Wars. But Yoda just he's really there. I actually think a lot of Yoda's knowledge is actually translatable to real life. Like, the do or do not. There is no try.
Judge me by my size,
Do you? I don't believe it. That is why you fail. Like, because I get why a lot of people don't like the stuff with Yoda in the prequels, like, the leaping around and shit.
I can be a backpack while you run.
Well, because one of the things that I think why Yoda is so small and is because it's supposed to show the power of the mind over over the physical power, over using the lightsaber and
the spirit.
blood. And it's the fact that the mind can overcome, but I do get why people don't like the prequel stuff with Yoda, but I don't mind some of it. The lightsaber stuff, I'm like, you're just gonna have to accept that because that's how lightsaber fights are.
Yeah.
The
love story.
Oh yeah, the
love story of Han and Leia, which unfolds so great. I mean, it picks
really
up
does.
where they left off in 4. You know, and as someone who ships them die hard, I love.
Yeah.
I love them. That's why I ignore the sequel trilogy a lot because I don't like what they did with them.
Well, then in my opinion, this movie is more Han's movie than Luke's, whereas I argue 4 and 6 are more Luke's movies.
Yeah.
Mainly because 6 deals with the revelation we get at the end of this movie, and 4 because Luke is literally the New Hope, because A New Hope, which.
So the odds of a successfully navigating an asteroid field are 625 to 1. Never tell me the odds.
But mostly because
you said you wanted to be around if I ever made a mistake.
Yeah.
I take it back.
Because Han and Leia's relationship is much more prominent here. The fact that Han is trying to escape, the Empire as the Empire is chasing them down in the Falcon. The fact that they go to Lando Calrissian, who is Han's good friend.
Which Lando.
Oh yeah, which we're gonna get to in a second. Just to the point where the biggest part of the story is Han getting frozen in carbonite, aside from the big revelation at the end. So it really does feel more like it's Han's movie because Luke is kind of, I wouldn't say put to the side, but he's doing much more important things, developing himself for the next film.
Developing under the surface.
Yeah. If you ever seen the episode Avatar: Last Airbender of the Guru, where Aang's more, again, kind of off to the side, even though the whole episode is supposed to be about Aang's training to unlock the Avatar state, which I argue is because Empire introduced the concept where the main character must improve his skills if he's going to in any way hope to conquer over the villain, so he's sent away to train with a master, only to realize that he must choose between his training or saving his friends. But yeah, I that stuff is really good. The stuff with, of course, Lando Calrissian, old Billy D. If you remember Batman '89, you already know what we're going.
Ghosts and goblins.
You old smuggler.
Oh God.
I hope you're here to buy some of that Colt 45.
This deal's getting worse by the minute.
The cool side of the pillow.
Just trying to help.
Because I like you said,
You got a lot of guts coming here after what you pulled.
No. But
I love
because you were
Lando.
talking about apparently a lot of people don't like Lando, which
No. A lot of people I've seen will give Lando a lot of shit for the deal going bad in Cloud City, and I argue, I'm like, I don't think he had a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darth Vader and a fucking battalion of stormtroopers show up at your door. You don't really get an option.
Yeah, that's like if...
And I mean, just the fact that he was sitting there trying to figure out, okay, how can I get this deal worked where all of us get out of here? Yeah, he was working on that the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
So I don't think people really get that.
Yep.
And I'm sure it's just people like, oh, like he betrays Han. You know, he's supposed to be friends and he betrays him. And I'm like, and then Lando spends like the better part of the next like almost half a year trying to get Han back. Like go behind the scenes, like with the EU. There's a lot of shit going on with them trying to get Han back, and there's a lot of near misses and stuff.
Hell, he kind of does more than Luke does, because Luke spends most of that time building a lightsaber and trying to hone his Jedi skills.
I mean, Lando blows up a fucking building with a thermal detonator at one point during Shadows of the Empire.
Jeez.
Yeah, I remember that. And Leia almost gets turned into a harem girl with a weird alien character in Shadows of the Empire.
Prince Exor.
No, Prince Exor is lame.
One of these days we got to do a Shadows review because I'm down for that.
I need to find the comic though, because I
if you have the comic, because I have the book. I can loan you the book because the book and the comic actually show different viewpoints. Same with the game.
Yeah, I'll try and ask for that for Christmas, because I never really found a good place to read Shadows of the Empire.
What, the novel or the graphic novel?
The graphic novel. It'd be kind of interesting if I read the graphic novel and you have the novel. That way we could talk about the differences.
Yeah, I'd be down for it. And I have the game. I have the PC version and the N64
I've seen reviews of that game doesn't look that bad, but I know people are like, it's kind of...
It's not that bad. People just don't like it because discount dash render.
Well, then I think the 64 version, the N64 version is kind of...
It's not as good as
janky.
the PC one.
And of course, you know, the thing that everyone remembers from this movie, because it...
And they fucking quote it all the time by saying, Luke, I am your father. And that's not what he says.
No,
he says, no, I am your father. Let's get it right. There's no Mandela effect running in this video.
To be fair, it's funny you mentioned that, because from what I understand, apparently Lucas was so keen on making sure that this revelation didn't get out that when they shot that, they were actually saying different dialogue, Luke and him. Like, it was actually about, like, how Obi-Wan, or, like, how he just, like, Vader killed Anakin. And, like, basically, like, Luke was trying to, like...
I think the only ones that knew was him, maybe one or two of the production people, and then James Earl.
Because
doing the voiceover.
Because I think they actually had, they redubbed them in there, because they didn't want anyone knowing this leak because of how big it was.
Oh.
I actually read a story from somebody on a Star Wars forum years ago where they talked about going to see the movie, and somebody came out and actually said that in the lobby. Like, guys, Darth Vader is Luke's father. Somebody slugged him and knocked him out.
Jeez.
Yeah. Like,
being that mad. Like fucking seriously?
Like, I think for those of you who, like, if you want a closer parallel, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows with the whole Snape kills Dumbledore thing. Like, that was how big that was.
Well, also,
like, you literally tried to say what that ending was, you would actually face penalty of death in front of a fire squad.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was... Fandoms don't fuck around with this shit.
Yeah, because what was the last adventure film called? Like the one with Thanos.
Endgame.
Endgame. Okay, so when Endgame came out,
goddamn Endgame spoilers.
Yeah,
there was
Endgame. Good lord.
God, Thanos demands your silence.
Well, not just that,
there was a huge campaign about no Endgame spoilers.
I think it was somewhere. I forget which age.
So I think when me and were you with us for Endgame?
Yes, I went the first time. I actually knew.
No,
I knew who died in it because some dickhead on Tumblr didn't tag their shit, and I saw it. But that was the only spoiler.
Because you told me spoilers, like, and I was like, "Don't, whatever you do, do not tell me." Because, like, I usually don't mind spoilers.
And I looked at you and I was like, "My friend, I wouldn't dream of it."
Because, like, I literally was like, "Don't you fucking tell me about the Endgame spoilers." I've been waiting for this.
I guide others to a treasure I myself cannot possess.
But. Shit, I was going somewhere with this.
I was gonna say
talking about just fandom reveal, like spoiler reveals.
Right.
And to be fair, I honestly believe that, like, you can kind of figure out that Vader is Luke's father even if you watch New Hope.
It's German. It means dark father.
Yeah.
Yes. We've all heard the joke.
There's a not only that, there's a lot
that's an actual
translation. Vater, Vader. Vater is German for father. Darth. It's been a long since I took German. But I imagine that's part of it. Yeah, it's,
it translates as roughly as Dark Father.
But like and to be fair, I think it's such an almost kind of obvious thing now to make the bad guy in some way.
But back then, that had to have been a shock.
I mean, back then, yes, no, that was inconceivable. I think
there is a video somewhere on YouTube of a live react to that in 1980.
I have no idea if that is real though. I
don't know if it's real. If it is, I mean, it would make sense. But I'm like, I just don't know how you would have filmed that.
Because there's no way because like.
So you're not sneaking a Super 8, and even then, a Super 8 doesn't have audio.
I don't
think any Super 8 had audio back then.
You
could be wrong.
Have done a videotape camera because those things were fucking huge.
The only way you would have, I almost wonder if this is what it is. Because I think this is actually that's probably how this is real. It's probably someone just grabbing the video off something.
Yeah.
And somebody probably had a cassette recorder with them, and probably just dubbed the audio, and they just synced it up. Okay. Because my uncle actually he had a reel-to-reel player, and he actually used to record Star Trek off the TV, the audio, and he would just listen to them all the time, like he would just play them back. Kind of like how people used to do that with Doctor Who back, like with the Lost. It's probably something like that. Somebody just probably audio dubbed it. Yeah. So that's probably actually real.
I love how you're not even a Doctor Who guy. You love bringing that up.
It's Lost Media. I like Lost Media.
Like, not to be rude, it's kind of hilarious that you're the one that brings that up more than me.
Star Wars is the nexus between you two, the connection. But no, I looked it up. So
we're force bonded.
So of course you're right. It actually did say that Vader is of course from German Dutch Vater, but the Darth part, because I looked up German, it's Dunkel for dark, and he said the source said it could have been maybe experience from death, like Well,
I think it was. I think where I read it's a rough translation.
Yeah. Imagine if he was called Dunkel Vader.
Dunkel Vader, father.
Oh man, Tatooine really is backwater if he's Luke's dad uncle.
But but no, like the finals that scene, I argue. Out of any scene in any of the Star Wars movies, that is the most iconic scene in the entire saga.
Like the only thing that I think compares to it is the Death Star battle at the very end of New Hope.
Yes, but I argue even because this is my thing. I have met far more people that are like, oh, I've never seen Star Wars, and I'm like, well, what do you know about it? Vader's Luke's father, right? I have heard more people do that. Like, I am your father.
I mean,
people know that because it's so ingrained in our society and our pop culture.
Oh yeah, like there's so many.
It's become so iconic.
No Buzz, I am your father.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many parodies and variations on it.
Like I was talking to I brought up the Kids Next Door episode where they parody Empire.
Yeah, it's become such a big deal. It's a popular culture icon.
And not only just that, the lead up to it, like the second lightsaber fight ever on screen between Vader and Luke.
And I mean, it's intense.
Yeah, it's intense, especially because you can really, if you pay attention, you can tell that Vader is just like he's not even trying. Like literally, when they first turn their sabers on, Luke is two-handing it. Vader just pulls out the one and he's literally just blocking all his shots with one arm.
And then near the end, when he's just going that's him trying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, you can just tell that it looks like, oh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck, I can't do this, fuck,
you know, and like the part where after he gets thrown into the carbonite, the carbonite bath, when he escapes, the part where Luke is literally like walking around that one room in Cloud City, and Vader like sneaks up on him and starts ripping the room apart with the Force, and then throws him out that window. Like you really feel for Luke, because literally Luke is in the most danger he's ever been in.
Yeah.
It's such a great fight, and it's so intense. What other parts are really good? The part with the Millennium Falcon and the worm.
Yeah.
After they escape into the meteor, the meteor herd.
That's not the worm. That's its tongue.
I love you.
I know. Which was an ad lib, but Harrison Ford's ad lib skills are like this.
Godlike.
Like this, the part where in Raiders where he just shoots the swordsman because they were supposed to have this. He's like, nah, I have a cold. I don't feel like it.
I don't feel like doing this shit.
But every time he does it, Lucas and Spielberg are like, no, that's great. We're gonna
They
keep
eat it
that.
up. They're like, we're gonna keep that in.
Yeah, like
You said the original was going to be like a modeling, like monologue or something. Like it was.
Oh, it was
Sappy.
it was something stupid, like
Yeah.
something like really, really stereotypical. Whereas like Harrison just ad-libbed that. And
yeah.
So like Carrie's reaction is like I think genuine in that
Yeah.
because like she's like what? And then like plus they were actually dating at the time, and it's like
Oh, you can tell.
that in itself's become iconic. Where like they make couple shirts
Yeah.
that say that.
And also, kind of watching this again on the big screen, I noticed some things I never like. The part where Leia's helping them fix the Falcon and she hurts her hands, and like you can tell, like Han's joking with her, and then he notices her hands are hurt, and his face like changes expression, like let me and he takes her hand and he massages it, and like there's this really I never really noticed that until I was watching it on the big screen, because like they're joking
Just
around
the way he's like holding onto her hand.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I never really, when I watch that, all the time, I'm just like, yeah, there are. But then it was kind of nice seeing it on a big screen, because I noticed that detail. I'm like, oh wow, that was really touching. Like it was, but like scoundrel.
You don't have any scoundrels in your life.
I also I noticed a lot of the details of Hoth. Like you can see all these exposed cables that are running to like all the blasters and stuff. Like, clearly they had to hobble this together very quickly.
Which I love the contrast between that and like the brutal, efficient, immensity of the Empire. Like you have a great contrast of the asymmetrical power between the two. The Empire and the Rebels.
Yeah.
A ragtag group of freedom fighters.
Like even down to their spaceships, because the Rebel spaceships are all different shapes. Like they're clearly
they've all seen better days.
Yeah, like they've all seen better days. But like you've got ships that are kind of oblong. You've got like the. Although I argue the X-wings are way better than the TIE fighters. The X-wings are actually built to fly.
Well, the X-wings, if I remember correctly, they had a lot of those. They were stolen. They were originally an Imperial design. I think they got stolen.
Okay, that makes sense. But that, I love. For some reason, I don't know why. I just really love the snowtroopers.
It's a good looking design.
It is
it was something different than what we had seen.
Yeah, I love that their masks are almost like they're almost just cloth.
They kind of like Cobra Commander.
They do actually they do. Like the fact that they have those sashes, they just look cool. And every time I watch this movie, I'm like, I wish this was the actual design for the Stormtroopers over the actual design we got.
I love all of Leia's costumes in this too.
Oh yeah, she goes through a lot of
she
costumes
looks
in this.
again. God, Carrie Fisher is an absolute princess.
She is very gorgeous in this movie. Then you get to see a little bit more,
especially the Bespin outfit.
Her Bespin outfit's really good. Granted, it don't compare to when we get her in the gold bikini, but
I actually remember reading somewhere that Daisy Ridley actually asked Carrie Fisher like how should I prepare for this role, because I'm gonna be in Star Wars. And I think one of the things Carrie told her, I don't know if it was the first thing, but it was probably one of the first things. She was like, you need to be prepared. You are going to become the ultimate fantasy for a lot of young men.
no, that's true.
For years to come.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Carrie is speaking from personal experience.
Yeah, no, because like I said, I know a lot of men who Princess Leia is their first love. Mm-hmm. Yeah, anyone else want to kind of bring up their favorite things?
Trying to think of other things. I like the. This is the thing, and this is something I've come to appreciate the ending a lot more in recent years. We're there's this sense of urgency, and there's this sense of things are a little dark. Han's been captured. They have to get him back. We have this huge revelation that Darth Vader is Luke's father. What's that going to entail?
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to tell them, any around him? How is this going to affect everything? How's this going to affect is Luke going to join his father?
Yeah.
Is he going to stay on the path of the light? There's all these questions. Who's the other? There's all these questions that we don't really get a resolution to. And the resolution is it's such a somber ending. You have Luke on the hospital ship. He gets his new hand, and then Lando and Chewie leave in the Falcon to try to track down Han, and you just have this shot of just Leia and Luke and C3PO and R2D2 just looking out the window of the hospital ship, and then End of the movie.
Yeah.
It's a very somber ending, you know, and it's like while it's not a it's not a depressing ending.
No, not at all.
It's an ending that it's like I argue is it leaves you wanting more.
Yeah, very much because you're like, what's gonna happen now?
I gotta put the next movie in.
Yeah, wait, put the tape in. We're gonna spend.
Shit, I gotta rewind it first. Fuck, hold on.
Oh, all right.
No, you're putting them in backwards.
Oh, right, we gotta spend like an hour with Jabba.
Don't forget the extra 4 minutes with the special, you know, the...
Okay.
Put the stupid new musical number in the special edition.
We're doing the Teddy Bears Picnic thing. Okay. Oh, hey, back to Vader and Luke. Huh?
Like I said, I will defend episode 6.
No,
I don't give a shit.
That's
Jokes
me.
aside.
Jokes aside, I like episode 6. I think more the problem is actually the stuff getting up to rescuing Han. That takes way too long.
Yeah, but like I said, I with the ending of 5, I argue it's really the perfect end to the movie.
No, it really is.
You know, like I said, it leaves you wanting more. Everything's wrapped up, but it's not really like
wrapped up.
It's not wrapped up in a sense of, you know, we have a conclusion. Everybody's happy. You know, the heroes win, the bad guys lose.
Yeah,
you know, it's
episodes-
very, very somber.
Yeah, because like they're like, you know, what are we gonna do now? Basically, like we managed to escape. What now? In my opinion, is what the ending is basically.
You know, where do we go from here?
Yeah, and I think that it is a satisfying ending because like if you're gonna make a trilogy, the second one should end in a way that's like here, like because I think the first film should end in a way that's
Positive,
positive and fulfilling on its own, because if it doesn't succeed, you're not going to have a trilogy. Like that's why I like the ending of 4, where they get the awards on
Yavin.
Yavin, thank you. I couldn't remember what the planet is called. Yes, the Empire's not vanquished, but you destroyed one of their greatest weapons. That is a
You've dealt a blow to them.
You've dealt a blow that they have not felt in a long time. We have a new hope. You know, when you have a movie called The Empire Strikes Back, it's like, you know, they're striking back. You know, they're not going to let the rebels get what they want. And then, of course, Return of the Jedi, which, you know, is the return of the Jedi Order in a metaphysical sense.
Originally called Revenge of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Which was later changed because that doesn't fit with the Jedi philosophy. But
fun fact, there actually is something that still has Revenge of the Jedi on it. It is a promotional video they made called Return of the Wookiee. It's about
Return of the Ewok.
Return of the Ewok.
It was made by Warwick Davis,
Yeah.
one of the actors who played Wicket, the
Yeah.
Ewok.
Okay.
It's never been officially released, but it's been released in snippets.
And you can find, I think, the whole thing on
He
YouTube.
shows it around the cons a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because basically, they were supposed to originally be like a promotional thing where he gets so into character, he forgets that he's not an Ewok, so he wanders around the set, which is hilarious because you can actually see Darth Vader in it. And he's not dubbed by James Earl Jones.
Yeah, David Prowse.
Yeah, it's David Prowse. You hear him, Wookiee, Ewok, where are you going, Ewok? For instance, if you watch this, you will see why they have to redub Vader with James Earl Jones.
Well,
because, oh my god.
I know we're deviating a little bit with a lot of the stuff with Revenge of the Jedi that people. This is something a lot of people forget because there is a Revenge of the Jedi trailer that came out, the original first trailer, and one of the things you'll notice about it is Luke has a blue lightsaber in it.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was later changed because Lucas felt it's too hard to see it. It doesn't stand out enough against the Tatooine sky during the Jabba sequences, so they changed it to green.
Okay.
But originally, and if you look at the original Revenge of the Jedi promo poster, it's blue. And the interesting thing actually is in that same promo picture. There's an art in the background of Luke and Vader fighting from the iconic end of the Return of the Jedi. Their lightsaber colors are switched. Vader's is blue and Luke's is red.
Almost like Luke was giving into rage.
Yeah, which he does. You know, he does in that end sequence. You know, when Vader brings up Leia, Luke just snaps.
Right.
Yeah. But then, of course, he throws out
and he
the sword.
sees, he realizes that he's like, no.
Yeah, you failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi, just as my father. But
So be a Jedi.
what I was getting with the Warwick David thing, you can see on the doors and some of the chairs and stuff, they had everything had Revenge of the Jedi on it.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. Like I said, if you want to watch that, it's
It's on YouTube somewhere.
it's kind of banal, but it's just an oddity.
It's interesting.
It's especially because you can see some behind the scenes stuff.
It's like the original behind the scenes doc that came with the box set called From Star Wars to Jedi, the making of a trilogy. I have that somewhere.
It's also probably the only thing aside from the holiday special where you can see poor Carrie kind of high.
Yeah.
Because like I think at that point she was.
No, she was because Blues Brothers.
Yeah, but I mean, granted, with the Star Wars holiday special, I think everybody was high during that, making that.
Well, with him, it makes sense because the poor dude was in a car accident. But
yeah,
Jeez.
well, that just perms my hair.
What about you, Doug? Any scenes from this that really like stand out? You know, like favorites.
You guys already mentioned a good amount, of course, like the major scenes that everybody talks about. The only one I guess I'll add is the train. Well, it's the scene where they're in Dagobah, and it's where the ship. What do you call that? The
X-wing.
The X-wing. So it sinks into the swamp, and Luke's like, "Oh, I'm never going to be able to get it." And of course, Yoda's like, "No, you must. You can't. You can. I can't do his talk. You know the syntax. Yeah,
not?
exactly.
There's no try.
So he, of course, he's like, it's impossible. He tries. He's like, and then of course Yoda gives a speech about, the Force. It comes from life. It's everywhere. In the trees, in the rocks.
What's stronger than this mess?
And actually, you really gave a good point where, like, you said, like, it's reminiscent of Shintoism, and the idea that everything has a life spirit. I even said, like, it is kind of an interesting, like, spiritual, philosophical idea of the Force, where now I can see why people get pissed off with Episode 1 with the midichlorians.
Yeah, because, like, it's one of those points where I'm like, you don't need to over-explain the Force. The Force doesn't need to be explained.
It's a mystical, element in the universe.
Which, fun fact...
binds us and penetrates us and hides the...
See, these guys can quote everything entirely.
Fun fact, that's what Mako's based from in Final Fantasy VII. The energy of that planet. That's the Force, basically.
Wait, 7?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Also, fun fact, Biggs and Wedge from the Final Fantasy series comes from Star Wars.
There you go. Yep. See, once again, it's everywhere in culture.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, to be fair, Star Wars is insanely popular in Japan.
Yes, My Hero Academia, there's places named after...
Yeah, like, I actually argue it's one of the first movies, in my opinion, like, that was a big thing outside of the U.S. I mean, granted, U.S. films were always big with foreign markets.
Not like this.
But not like this.
But yeah, so once again, I appreciate that it's not just, battles and sword fights and love and all that. There is, like, a philosophical or spiritual, however you want to interpret it, undercurrent to it, where, there is actually, like, a bigger theme. And, of course, it's about not giving into base things like fear, anger, hatred, but, of course, hope, what's right and justice, loyalty, love. So I do really appreciate
and
that.
the hatred of sand.
It's coarse and it's everywhere. But I do appreciate
sacrifice, my friends. If you want to know what they fight for, yes.
But also, it's also not so simple and one side. It is like nuanced. Like even though they're all Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke, they're all on the same side. But of course, they're like, well, what's the right action here? With Luke thinking, I gotta go save my friends. And the other two thinking, well, no, you gotta still fight and still develop your skills. So it's not so simple, but it's also still showing like a dualism of good and evil, which of course is the heart of a lot of stories, part of the human archetype. So I do really think there is more. It's not just a popcorn film. It's not just mindless. There is a good moral and a good once again how to interpret it, philosophical, spiritual. There's something to get out of it, and I did appreciate that.
Yeah. Now, to be honest, I want your guys' opinion. Do you think Luke was right in going to Bespin to rescue his friends?
I was actually going to just bring this up, and I didn't know whether I should or not. I would actually argue that the reaction you get out of Ben and Yoda after, they're like, where Ben's like, I cannot interfere if he goes to challenge Vader. And Luke's like, I understand. And you see Yoda's expression shift. I actually think that I almost wonder if that they were testing him on that, because Luke's instinct is, I need to go help my friends, and that's not while it is a little bit obviously emotional, that's his instinct. Is I need to help my friends.
Well, especially because like
I can't just stand by and do nothing. I have to help.
Well, especially because the Force tells him about it. Because like when he's training, he senses that they're in trouble because the Force sent him that they were in trouble.
And I mean, it's Luke trusting his instincts. And I actually think that I think that's what makes him a great Jedi is that he trusts his instincts.
Yeah, especially because I actually do. I do agree that I think Luke was right because, like, I think it was a way of showing that the Jedi's old way of thinking is not going to help them in this. Like, especially because one of the problems with the prequels is they wanted to show that the Jedi Order was becoming corrupt and outdated and such. And it doesn't really show there. In my opinion, here it shows why Luke is one of the greatest Jedi of all time, is because he realizes that it's okay to have a little bit of emotion, like to trust your emotions sometimes, not to give in to them, but to let them guide you. You know, like, especially because, like, if he loses Han and Leia, like, that's kind of it for the rebellion.
Right.
Because Leia is the heart of the rebellion. So he goes in even knowing it's a trap because he can't risk losing the only other people he has that can help him ensure the fall of the Empire. So in my opinion, I think it was right because I think the Force was testing him in a sense because it had to know if Luke could bring balance. And I think he does in a way, especially because this leads into the eventual turnaround with Darth Vader in Episode 6. Because, like, this is the start of the storyline with Vader's redemption.
And then we're redeeming Vader in 6. That's another example of Luke trusting his instincts because you have Yoda and Ben being like, he's given himself to the dark side.
He's more machine now than man.
He can't be pulled back. You know, like it's everybody telling him like you can't save him, and Luke being like, no, I know I can.
And in my opinion,
and even though Vader dies at the end of it, he does. You know, where Luke's even like no, I have to save you. Yeah, you already have, Luke.
Especially because, if we one of the better parts of the prequels, that scene where where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Maul are between those energy doors. You know, there's a part where because I think at one point Obi-Wan was like, trust your lightsaber, make sure you never lose it. You know, it is the weapon.
Weapon is your life.
Yeah. When the doors are closing and stuff, Obi-Wan decides to turn off the lightsaber. Thinking, there might be another way out of just fighting. Like, because sometimes I think that the Jedi forget that sometimes it's not about crushing the Sith or destroying it outright. Sometimes the best course of action is to lay down the sword.
Or does that make you great?
Yeah. The whole anger leads into fear and such, that sometimes we have to put certain things aside, but it doesn't always mean you have to put it aside all the time.
Right.
And I think that's a big part of it. So what about you, Doug? You think Luke was right in doing that?
I would definitely say so, and I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying. So to add to that, my other thing is, and we discussed about this, I do think that Obi-Wan Kenobi said even I and Yoda's power of the Force cannot foresee the future like that. So they're already saying they have limitations. So that's why they're very cautious. Like, they don't want, they're like, look, we rather err on the side of safety than you going into this obvious bait, this trap.
Yeah.
So rationally speaking, there are of course things that that point out the best thing would be just to not go. But I think though what you said with the Force though, Luke, I imagine, if you can correct me on this, he has a greater sense of the Force. Like, he has more access and is in tune with where he can perhaps understand things deeper in the fate or in the destiny than they can. So I think that's definitely saying.
Well, especially because these three movies actually do show Luke has some sort of way with the Force. Like, for instance, he even before he blew up the Death Star, he thought that 2-meter hole wasn't that bad because he used to shoot things that big back in Tatooine. Yeah. using
bullseye womp rats, my T16
Yeah.
back home. They're
Yeah.
not much bigger than 6 meters.
You
Yeah,
just
like-
sandbag me. You just sandbag me.
What's you sandbag?
Well, because like a lot of people miss, because like in my opinion, I think that's a way of showing that even before he had Force training, the Force guided him in a way that he could do those things that seemed impossible. Like even before he had his training, he clearly had a very powerful connection to the Force. And I think that shows throughout all these movies. It's why he knows that they're still good in Vader, because the Force is pulling him, because like the Force is like, you are the one who will bring balance. You have this gift that you can feel how important certain things are, like things that like others normally don't.
Also,
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Also, I think I have another idea about this, the Force. Maybe it's another thing with the Force, because, like, you know, how a lot of, like, spirituality, theology, they claim that, you know, for the world to have good, you have to have evil, to have success, you have to have failure. So perhaps there was necessary thing of Luke risking and, of course, getting damaged with his hand getting cut off and, you know, be humiliated and, you know, all that stuff and losing Han. That there may have been a necessary, you know, step in him developing, becoming a Jedi. So perhaps even if the Force, you know, even though it was going to be a total victory, it was a necessary step towards that. So perhaps it's the Force, you know, influenced him to that direction. Where,
No, I think the Skywalkers just like losing one of their hands, except for Leia.
they like the stranger, I bet. I just
Jesus.
wrote this.
On that note, I think we covered a lot of good shit here.
Yeah.
Oh wait, we forgot to talk about Boba Fett.
Why is he a big deal? I'm sorry. Why?
So anyway, guys,
We might have to do an episode on why Boba Fett is
I'm
so
just
popular.
saying,
But,
in this
like-
film, he didn't impress. He was all right, but he wasn't like super bad at it.
It's the era of mystery, my friend.
Lando was
That's-
cooler than Boba.
Bob from Batman '89 is cooler than Boba. Jango Fett is cooler than Boba.
Jango Fett is not core because Jango Fett gets dispatched way too fucking easily.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, I think we covered it pretty well. That was our experience watching episode 5 in the theater.
One last thing, because we've been making this joke throughout the whole episode. Earlier today at work.
Oh, you want to explain that I'm a contender?
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Cole, for some reason, he loved bring up this quote from
On the waterfront.
with Marlon Brando.
Oh, they have a poster of that in Movies of Meadville on the
Oh,
wall.
Jesus.
Me and Adam found it.
So yeah, he for some reason he keeps you say the line. You keep repeating this line.
I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of being a bum.
I want my ticket to Palookaville.
And then
So, and I took that and I adapted it to a line from Eddie and the Cruisers. I want to be something great. I want to be a contender.
Which led us.
We ain't great. We're just a couple of bums from Jersey. If we can't be a great contender, there ain't no point never contending again. That's all.
Which led to us doing it for like an hour.
Just adapting it to everything.
music, literature,
Books,
movies.
quotes,
But yeah,
everything. Just throw Marlon Brando in it.
That's why I did that earlier. I just couldn't resist.
But yeah, like Colton was saying, it's an experience that I'm glad we got to see. I'm glad I got to see with you guys. It
Thank you.
made it all the
Anyway.
better. 9 out of 10. It was extraordinary, sensational, amazing, superior.
I'll give it a 9 out of 10 planets destroyed by the Death Star.
I give it 10 out of 10 Star Destroyers.
All right, fine.
Which means our final rate is a 5
Yes.
out of 5.
That's gonna do it for this episode, guys. Thank you as always for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe,
Smash that
tell
like
your
button.
friends.
Show
Show it at a party.
And don't worry, our Fan 4 Stick review is coming. We just had some issues trying to meet up.
Life's gotten crazy lately.
We will be getting that to you guys soon. Thank you for always sticking with us. Keep sticking around because with a couple more weeks, we're getting up to the big 1-year anniversary of Remember the Hyphen.
And we got something real special planned.
But until then, guys, we ask you, remember the hyphen and take care.
Okay.